Randall, it's great to have you on the show. I'm very excited to be able to chat with you about We Are Vessel and to be able to find out what you guys are up to. Of course, I know that we've heard some singles from you guys over the years, but somehow it has slipped through the cracks and we are just now getting you on the show, which seems like a huge oversight on my part, but nevertheless, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Paul. It's good to be here, man.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, of course, the main reason why we're having you on the show is because you just sent us a new single, and I liked it so much that I was like, you know what? We got to get these guys on. So we got you now, and we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. And then, of course, you've also got a new album that seems like it's about to drop here in a couple of weeks as well, which is pretty exciting. But before we get into all the new stuff, since this is your first time on the show, give us just a little bit of backstory on We Are Vessel.
Yeah, for sure. Well, so We Are Vessel is a band we got put together back in 2014. I was in another project called October Glory back in those days, and I was just a guitar player and kind of some backup harmonies. And to make a long story short, we were doing pretty well, and I thought some things were going to come through for us, pretty big stuff, and everything just kind of fell apart right in front of me. You put your heart and soul into something, and you feel like it just falls apart in front of you. You're like, what do you do? When everything fell apart, I just remember taking a time with God and just saying, God, here I am. I'm just trying to put everything out that I have for you, put it out for you. You direct me where you want me to go. And I just remember the prayer being, God, I just want to be your vessel. I want to throw myself up wherever you're going to blow me towards. That's where I'm going to go. And so that was my prayer. And it wasn't probably a couple of weeks after that, the management that we had with October Glory had contacted me about we'll first discuss maybe taking over on vocals, but we decided to just, after some prayer and thought, to just start over, basically. And because there was going to be a total different vision for the band than what was already there. That's how it started. We spent the first year in 2014 just writing and recording and just putting everything we had. We didn't know what we were going to do. Here we are, just a local band from a small town that has never played a local show or never done anything, but we're writing and recording. And we finished our the first EP. And we had a single called "Can You Hear Me?" Our management decides to push it to radio. We put it on the radio and promoted it, and the thing goes in the top 20. And we started touring that first year. We started doing going out. Of course, it wasn't day after day, but we would have a lot of weekend stuff, and it started getting better and better. And I just remember thinking back that year, oh my God, you're so incredible. What I thought was going to be ending and over turns out that it's a bigger and better thing if I just make myself available to you. That's what I am, and that's what this band's about, is just being wherever we need to go. And it's funny that there was a confirmation that came in. We were at a show in Iowa, and I remember before the set, the church people were praying over us, and somebody in there said something in that prayer and totally confirmed what God was doing and what He was having. He said, "Look," he said, I'm praying over you guys. I'm pouring into you. I want you to realize something. And you guys represent yourselves as vessels. Think about what a vessel does." And we began to think about it. He said, "A vessel comes into port and brings things to the people that are in need." I was just like, God, that's so awesome that here I am just going to be a vessel, an empty vessel. But yeah, you filled me with your love and filled me with your grace so that I could bring that out to the people that are in need. And man, that's the mission. That's where we came from. That's the mission. That's all we care about, is loving on people, man.
Fantastic. I like that, dude. How many of the guys that are in the band now, did any of them come from the previous project, or was it just a completely new group of guys that you're with?
Well, it was one guy, our guy that was at the last bit had been filling in on the drums a little bit and was actually our sound technician for a good bit, was actually We Are Vessel's first drummer. And he was with us for a good while, and then he met a girl, and that kind of thing happened. That's been, man, to be honest, that's been the story of every member. The only one that stuck around has been me. Yeah. I was already married, so I didn't have anybody to meet. We have changed. There's no. I'm the only original member, but I will say this. Everybody that's came in, the band has done more than this minister to the people. It's ministered to the guys in the group and to me. It's set up. There's 3 guys that have came into this ministry single. They were looking for purpose, looking to be used, looking for something. And I can say now, 3 going on 4 years later now, with the different ones we had, all 3 of them are married one of them with a kid now, and they're providing for their families and serving the Lord in their churches, and they were at the point where they were at when they were single before all this happened. They didn't seem like they had purpose, and so if that's how it's got to be, if guys are coming and going a little bit, then that's great. I'm glad I can pour into them, and they can have God just show them their purpose through this, and that's fine. Then I can kind of rotate members if we need to. But I will say this though, I've got some guys now that came on with me last year, and they are just absolutely fantastic. They work their butts off in every aspect, and just really want to give even our crew guys. We've got a guy that's been a production manager now for this last year. Everybody works their butt off for this ministry, and not just for the ministry, but ultimately it's for the people that we impact.
Very nice. Well, let's talk about the record. I mean, you guys must have put in some time on this thing, because it's been a while since I'd heard from you guys. And then I got the single, and then I noticed that you guys had the record coming out towards the end of the month. What was the experience like putting this one together, especially since it's probably, I guess, the first go round with this group of guys?
It is, and to be honest, this record should have been out a year ago. We were anticipating it on being out a year ago. Man, sometimes things just don't happen like you want them to.
Right.
We come across some financial struggles that ultimately put a hold on the record a little bit. We had already done some work with, I don't know if you know this or not, but Jeremy from Seventh Day Slumber produced this record.
Oh, okay.
And we had started out, we did a couple songs with him already, and we had been coming back by. We were on tour with him a couple years ago through Small Town America tour. Mm-hmm. And so we were riding at that point too. And then all of a sudden we just couldn't seem to find the finances. We would go out on tours and things would break. And I remember the end of 2016, by the time early 2017, I was adding up bills for taxes and stuff. And we spent like $7,000 on van and trailer repairs, and just to stay on the road. And God was faithful, and we always made it home. But it just made it to where there wasn't any extra. You know what I mean? And we'd have to come home and really, really help, because it's already a very tough industry. Yeah. To be out in, not considering it just it's a ministry where there's a lot that's involved in doing this stuff. And so it was definitely not because we wanted the record to be any longer delayed. We had planned on it being out in 2017, it just never happened. They even set another release date for March of 2018. Oh, wow. And we just couldn't, we got up and finished all the recording in Nashville. Right. In January of last year. We couldn't afford to get the mixes or anything like that. Things just wasn't falling into place. Right. And then we was able to make everything happen and got the record done. It was a long way of saying that we're really excited for this long overdue record. It's got definitely my heart of some of the struggles that we fought over the last few years to push through and to make this. And what I wanted to do more than anything is to encourage people to not give up, to not give in when the going gets tough. Because if you just keep putting one foot in front of the other, just keep making that next step. Eventually, it may not be in your timing, but there's a reason for the timing that it'll happen. So here it is.
All right.
Finally.
All right, man. Sounds good. Now, is it like most bands that I talk to whenever they have an album that's been like in some phase of being done for an extended period of time? Is there like already a good chunk of stuff written for the next one already?
We do have some stuff already done. I don't know that it's going to go to the next record though. Oh, okay. Here's what I'll about that. We have a Patreon that we've set up. So what we did, all of our songs that we cut that basically produced and recorded but didn't make the cut to the record, they're in a special folder that only our Patreons can get. So there's a whole other. Yeah, it's kind of neat. Like we've got like a little community that we're calling our shipmates. Yeah. That we're trying to, things that don't make the cut, we want to make that available to those people as well that pour into our ministry and pour into us. Yeah. So we wanted to give them something a little neat, that not everybody else gets to get a part of. So I'll say this: those songs we've played some of them live over the last year or so, but they didn't make the cut to the record. They are available, but through that way. So the next record, though, we have started writing. We actually cut the first song off that record this month.
Oh wow! Okay.
I'll be finishing up vocals on it next week, I believe. Okay. And so that'll be the very first song if it makes the cut. But it's the first song we're writing for the record.
Okay, gotcha.
The next one. So.
Very cool. Well, since we're already playing the new song off the new album, the new album, of course, is called "Lift Your Voice," and the song is called "Without a Fight." Tell us about that song.
Oh man. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you a disclaimer on this song. This is the first interview that I've got to do about this song.
Okay.
When I was writing it, I knew I would, if we were going to release it as a radio single, I knew I'd have to talk about it. And so, bear with me a little bit.
Sure.
This song comes from an inside battle of mine that I had, and I'm sure a lot of people could probably relate to what I'm about to say. But years ago, a friend and I had a sound company together, and we became. We were best friends in grade school and on up, and he had veered off and kind of hit the party lane a little bit, and I never did that. And we had met back up at a coffee shop. He had gotten saved and was doing good, and we got back into music, and we both enjoyed production and sound, and so we had started that kind of thing up, and so we were just writing music together, playing shows together, doing a lot of stuff, and it was my best friend, and we did everything together. And I remember we started kind of drifting apart again a little bit. And I noticed some things about him that were going on that side I wanted to say something about, but I just couldn't talk about. I just couldn't seem to bring myself to bring it because I felt like he'd be mad at me or something. And I noticed he'd kind of started to slip away into some of the old ways. And I wanted to say something and I wanted to bring it up, but in the end, I was scared that what he would be mad or not want to be my friend anymore or something like that. And then one day, I got a call, and it was too late. He had taken a gunshot to the head, and they took him to rush him to the hospital. They life flighted him to the hospital, and next day there was no brain activity, no nothing. He ended up passing away. I remember the emotions that I felt was that I could have prevented this. I could have said something. I should have said something, and I never did. The inside battle that I fought for years, for 3 or 4 years with that, was just tearing me apart at times. There would be certain things that would come up. Our sound jobs that we would do, there'd be times I would see some of our old gear, or I would, his birthday or the day that it happened, or things like that would come across, and missing. It would remind me of him and missing, but it would also trigger the inside anger for myself inside. And I wish I could tell you that, man, yeah, I got over that whole thing, and God rescued me from that. But it took a while, and it took to that day in the studio recording those lyrics, and the bridge of the song was wrote on the spot with the headphones on in the microphone.
Oh wow!
It was literally just my raw emotion of that moment, and my breakthrough at the same time. God really healed me of that situation that day, and you just have to hear it in the song.
Wow, dude, that's some heavy
God
stuff.
did a big work. He did a big work in me, and I want to encourage other people that don't hold yourself to accountable to these things, and don't beat yourself up over things that you can't change, because those things in the past don't define who you are today. And they're not going to, and they can't unless you let them. And so don't go down. Don't take that to the grave without fighting back.
Wow, dude, that's some powerful stuff.
Sorry.
No, man. That's real. That's real. I mean, that's one of those things that, people always complain that music is manufactured and it's over processed, and, it's stuff is written because it'll sell. And that's not what that was. So man, that is, I appreciate you sharing that with us. I know that that's not an easy thing to have to dredge back up, but I'm glad that it came out in the song, and I'm glad that it's something that you can now share and use to help others. And if there's one takeaway from it, that's something that you can use from that situation. It doesn't make the situation a good situation, but it's most definitely something that has some redemption in the way that you can use it. And that's huge. Yeah,
absolutely.
Wow. That's craziness. Well, it seems weird to go on to other stuff from that, but
no, sorry.
No, that's all right, man. That's all right.
Oh man.
Well, so now when the album, the release date for the record is the 29th, is that correct?
That's correct. Yes,
okay.
Sir.
All right. Cool. So when it comes out, what do you really hope will be the biggest takeaway for people when they pick up the record and they listen to the whole thing? What do you want people to get out of it?
Man, I'm a big encourager to people not to give up on themselves. And, I've said that a few times tonight already about God's grace and his love and trying to bring that to people, but I'm huge on not giving up, to keep pushing through. I had a testimony is full of that. There was a point in my life where I was told I would never be I was never going to be able to be a singer. In fact, it was at one point I was trying to lead worship at church one night, and the pastor told the sound guy to never turn my microphone back on again. Oh. And yeah. And so, it's a thing of saying, man, just keep fighting, keep pushing through. Let your voice be heard no matter what. That's what I want you to take from it, because the world, people, everybody around us, everybody seems like they're in a competition to get to the top, to get to this, and so a lot of times when that happens, people want to tear other people down because it makes them move forward or look bigger or higher or whatever, and so we got to guard ourselves on that. We have to stand strong and just keep moving forward and be the light in the dark. Let's be the opposite. Let's be the ones that pick each other up instead of tearing each other down and move forward. So that's what that's about.
Okay, fantastic. I saw from your Facebook page that you're going to be doing the Recovery Rocks, and you're going to be doing some solo acoustic dates. Tell us a little bit about what that involves and what that's all about.
So it's going to be pretty fun. This is going to be on my the first time doing a solo tour. We really wasn't sure we were going to do this or not, but we decided to try to restructure this year a little bit differently for touring. And plus we have had some other opportunities coming up that we're trying to work around, making happen as well. And but we didn't want to I didn't want to completely, sit at home too much. So I definitely wanted to share this as much as possible, even though with the reconstruction of how we were going to do our tours this year and some of the tours we were going to be on. The Recovery Rocks tour is near and dear to our heart, man. I love the recovery community. Man, those guys and gals, they're hungry for God. Not saying that other people aren't, but there's something special and different about those people, and I love it. And so that tour will always be a tour that I will do. But this year, like I said, we have a couple of different opportunities I can't quite announce yet. We're excited for, but it means we just had to kind of do a restructuring of that tour. So in order to reach more of these groups, I wanted to try to do the solo tour as well. So just to be more intimate, just to kind of share some stories, share the album, share the hurts and the trials, and share the good news, and share the things that's going to come out. Just see if we can encourage somebody in a different way. Okay.
Awesome, man. Sounds great. Now, kind of on the other end of touring, you guys look like y'all had a fun tour around Christmas time with the Compassion Christmas Tour. Tell us about how that went.
Oh, man. Yeah. What a great tour, man. If you had asked me that how it was about December 2nd of that tour, I would have said a total opposite thing.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys follow us too much on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. Shameless plug, you should. Yeah. But I'm gonna try to keep this short too. Okay. The bus, our tour bus, broke down literally the week that we were leaving out on tour, and so we've got, we typically travel with our own production, and this Christmas tour we were going all out, and we were trying to make it more of a TSO on a budget kind of thing. Uh-huh. And we had a lot of big light production and all, and we were really excited about it. And then that happened. And then we were supposed to have another trailer, that was big enough to carry the production. That fell through until the middle of the month. But we made it work with our old trailer. We wound up breaking one leaf spring, and only one part of the frame broke. Oh, no. And so we ended up having to trying to figure out what to do about getting a vehicle to get around this tour, and couldn't rent a bus. The bus was going to cost us about $16,000, and that just wasn't in the budget. And we had looked at maybe getting a van. The problem with doing the van was it was going to have to be something that was very heavy duty. But some of our dates we had 2 dates that were over 600 miles apart. They were back-to-back days.
Yeah.
I think we had 9. We did 9. Had 9 dates back to back, and a couple of them were one or two 500s and a couple of 600 dates between. And I was like, man, we gotta sleep. We can't. I don't know if we can do it in the van. And I'll be honest, my dad, he jumped up and said, why don't we try to find you an RV or something somewhere?
Yeah.
I'm like, man, that would work. So we found this old RV and we ended up getting the nickname Last Resort.
Always a good sign.
we made it about 100 miles maybe for the first show. It had a blowout.
I saw a picture of the blowout. Then, that was one gnarly shredded blowout.
It was, man. I wish I could say that was the only one. We wound up replacing 7 tires on that tour, man. 7 tires.
Golly,
7 tires, a freshwater pump. What else did we replace?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the freshwater pump went out on the first day too. We couldn't flush the toilet for like 2 days. It was an interesting day, interesting bit. And here's the thing too: there were 7 of us on there. You had the 4 guys in the band. We had a speaker on tour at the time, a pastor, and then 2 crew guys. And the thing only sleeps like 4 people.
Right.
So my poor guys, we were stretched out in the front seat, had our feet up on the dash, another guy on the table, and I tell you what, they did a good job. It was a challenging tour. Very, very little sleep on the beginning of it, but it turned out to be just a great tour, a fun tour. Hey, real quick, I'll stop talking. I warned you before we started. I talked about. I just have a lot of great stories, man.
Yeah, I love great stories.
Awesome things, but it was last week actually, was at church in our youth group, and one of the promoters from the show in Illinois sent me a message and said, Randall, I want you to know that I know you had it was a trying tour for you. There was a lot of hardships, and I know when you came to this show, even though it was a late ad, that the attendance was pretty low, and I hope you didn't feel like you didn't make an impact, but I want you to know that there was a teenager that came that night, or I don't know if he was a teenager, he was an old young adult that came that night, and just to check it out and see what was going on. And he said, I want you to know that he came back the next week, got saved, and he's been in church ever since.
Oh, wow.
And it's because of the tour.
Wow.
And man, conviction hits you hard whenever you feel like you're ready to give up and you can't make it. You can't push on, and then you see something like that and you realize, God, if I had said no to this, it wouldn't have been just me giving up on what I'm passionate about. It would be giving up on a lot of people.
Wow. That's awesome, dude. I'm all about that. That's fantastic. Cool. Well, dude, man, we're running kind of late on time, but there's one question that I always ask that
Sure,
like, you can't have an interview without asking this question, especially now, because I made a habit out of it. But Randall, you're the lead singer of a rock band. You've obviously had some very interesting moments out on the road. You've been out on tour, done lots of shows, but despite all that, dude, what is the most un-rock and roll thing about you?
Oh boy. Okay. I have a cat. Is that pretty un-rock and roll?
Well, I've had this come up before. The deciding factor is, what is the cat's name?
Oh my goodness. I have a cool story about that too, but I'll spare you.
Okay.
The cat's name is Irma.
Okay. I mean,
Irma.
Hey, it's better than Fluffy. Yeah. I mean, because if you have a cat and its name is Fluffy, definitely un-rock and roll. But if you have a cat and its name is Razor, then you just totally taken yourself out of the running.
I hear that.
But Irma, that's kind of straddling the line there. I'll take that. That works.
Okay, cool.
Very cool, man. Very cool. Well, dude, thank you so much for taking the time. I know that it's kind of late, but at the same time, I'm so glad that I got a chance to talk to you and get to know a little bit about your story. And kind of know a little bit more what to expect about the record. I can't wait to check it out. And I know a lot of other people, especially after hearing the interview and the songs that they'll hear during the show, are going to be really anxious to be able to hear more of the record and hopefully get a chance to catch you guys either out as a full band or maybe even just you out on tour by yourself. But
man,
it's been fun.
That would be great. Fantastic,
dude.
Thank you so much, Paul. I appreciate it, buddy.